Nevada, taking on SMU in prime time. This number was way lower, then it got up to 27-ish, then it got hit back down. Nevada, a couple of groups have hit them this week and next week, so they've taken money, even though Brandon Lewis is getting the start at quarterback because Chubba Purdy is hurt and he's not that good. I'm between 24 and 27 on this game, so it just didn't really interest me. The thought I do have on this game is just something I'm thinking about more from a general perspective is, with all of the new landscape of college football with NIL, all of the movement in rosters and, the transfer portal. And then, now some of these lower level programs have to go get, guys from FCS, D2, JUCO. There's so much more player movement, makes, getting ready for the season a much more arduous task. But, part of me is starting to think, because a report came out that Preston Stone is going to start and he's healthy and good to go. He's injured at the end of last year, their star quarterback. But Kevin Jennings, who fared well in his absence, is also going to play. Like, that's the report came out. Like, you would naturally think, that would probably happen if, they were up by 30 late, as, the spread indicates that it's going to be a blowout. But I'm starting to think, like, okay, with this new NIL, are we going to see more favorites? And it might just be marginal, but bigger favorites cover a little more often because it's like, hey, Kevin Jennings is a sophomore and he goes to the coach like, hey, I want to audition, right, for where I might be going next. So instead of like running out the clock, you go out and you give kids more of a chance to like shine on TV. I don't know. I don't know if it's a nonsensical thought, but it's something I thought about this game because that report came out.
That's the Florida coach's philosophy, right? I'm going to run my tempo as fast as possible, even in the fourth quarter, up by 30. So,
your boy. What do you you have any thoughts here?
Yeah, I do. So the side for me was a no play from the beginning. I make it 25. There's a lot of reasons to not like SMU here, playing in elevation, monster elevation here in Reno. There's not really an overlook spot for them. They're playing Houston Christian, Houston Baptist. So there's not really an overlook here. But the one thing that I was drawn to immediately was the total. It's a total that I made at 51, and I'm not expecting, pace is not going to change for SMU at all. And when you look at Nevada, you have to talk about what is it they're going to do on offense, because Jeff Choate takes over as head coach, but he's a defensive-minded coach his entire career. They went and got Matt Lubick, the offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator now, but he spent the last 2 years as an analyst at Kansas. Well, what do we know about Kansas? 30 seconds per play, slow, a lot of pre-snap motion. The reason why Kansas looks like they're a fast up-tempo team, especially on the scoreboard, is because they have huge explosive plays. That's not Nevada's offense whatsoever. They've got Sean Dollars and Pat Garwo, who practice full health this week. They've got that two-headed monster at running back. He's going to be heavily utilized with, their quarterback that's going to be starting here. And I think it's just going to be a complete ground attack from Nevada here, and that is also going to eat away at the clock. There's, plenty of other things. The secondary brings back 75% of their PBUs on defense. I'm not saying that you can stop SMU in their passing attack, but Nevada does have a pulse when it comes to PBUs and pressures that they created last year. They get corner KK Meyer, nickel Kane Savage, and safety Aiden Salul back, and they combined for double-digit PBUs last year. Again, I'm not saying you're stopping the SMU passing attack, but it's not like they're dead. They have a pulse. So, I mean, if you can stop just a couple throws, that could change the complexity of this, especially from a totals perspective. And, I get it. Nevada was bottom 10 in almost every single stat last year on defense, but there was one category where they slipped into the top 100, and that was on-target ball allowed. That means they were changing up wide receivers where they caught the ball, getting them to stop and stride, getting quarterbacks to maybe switch and off their progressions and go to another option. So, I don't have any love for the Nevada defense, but the best part of them is the secondary. And that's exactly where SMU is going to sink their teeth in, except for Jalen Knight running behind an offensive line that has 120 starts. That could be a problem. Preston Stone, I mean, he was unbelievable. We'll talk about him more for how much I love SMU and this team. 28 to 6 TDs to INTs last year, tripled the big time throw rate versus turnover where they play. That doesn't happen very much. But You already mentioned it. Like, when is Kevin Jennings going to come in and get his reps? Rhett Lashley does not mind subbing in Kevin Jennings. We've seen Kevin Jennings a lot before. And so you have to ask, what can they do here? Romello Brinson's coming back, Moochie Dixon at wide receiver, both over 2 yards per route run. And it's an extremely explosive offense. But you have to ask when Rhett Lashley is going to take his foot off the pedal. 2 years he's been the coach at SMU, 13 games on the road. 8 of them have gone to the under. This Nevada offense is not going to be fast. It's going to be ground-based. And I think Rhett Lashley takes his foot off the pedal at some point. This could be similar to Temple last year. SMU went on the road and beat Temple 55-0. I could see a shutout thrown on Nevada, and I could see Rhett Lashley calling the dogs off at about 48, 45 points. So I like the under here. I wrote it up in our mismatches piece earlier this week at Action Network. And really what I said was 55 is key, 59 is key. I would love to get that 59. After that piece came out, the total took a hit closer to 55. I am resigned with the fact here. I'm going to play SMU Nevada live on the under if I can get 59. If not, and I miss it, that's fine, because I've got a real feeling this thing lands 55 or 58 in the game. So if I don't get 59, I'm going to play under live.
Yeah, I don't mind that, assuming that SMU does eventually. They're not in there just with Jennings running their fast-paced offense, because it is a team last year that just the one thing I'm concerned about with SMU is, like, can they, because last year and really the last couple of years against Power 5 teams, their offense hasn't really fared as well as it has against, teams that are at or below their level. And against those teams, they just crush them. So at 24, I could probably lean SMU, but there's definitely some uncertainty with how SMU is going to approach this from a quarterback perspective. But I don't mind your underlook there, because I can't see Lewis doing much for Nevada. And yeah, I do expect them to be slower and go ground heavy.